Hey there, you probably use digital money almost every day. Tap to pay, scan a QR code, mobile banking, or even cryptocurrency. PayPal, Apple Pay, Venmo, your bank app. It's fast, easy, and super convenient. Digital payments have become the global trend, and now central banks and governments want to join the game by launching their own version, something called CBDC or central bank digital currency. But when they announce it, everyone suddenly hates it. Wait, why? Isn't it just another form of digital money? It sounds familiar, but it works very differently. Imagine if your money could be programmed where it could expire after a month. Or what if it refused to let you buy certain things? Or it suddenly froze and you couldn't do anything about it? Sounds like a conspiracy, not really. These ideas are actually written in official documents and policy proposals. Now, before we start, disclaimer. This video will explain the concept of CBDC in Section 1, what the government says about it in Section 2, the risks of CBDC they don't talk about in Section 3, who's building CBDCs in Section 4, and who's against them in Section 5. Section 1, what is CBDC? CBDC stands for Central Bank Digital Currency. As the name suggests, this is digital money created and issued directly by the central bank. Some people compare CBDC to stablecoins like Tether because both are pegged to real fiat currency, like the US dollar. But there's a big difference. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or stablecoins like Tether are decentralized and run on public open blockchains. That means no single person or institution controls them. CBDC, on the other hand, is fully centralized, controlled, and regulated by the central bank or the government. Because of this, many people don't even consider CBDC a real cryptocurrency. Also, governments and central banks plan to use CBDC as money, not as investments. Okay, then is it like mobile banking or PayPal? Also no, at first glance it might look similar just like your regular bank app, but how it works is very different. To understand better, let's look at how money works today before CBDC. Right now, the central bank prints physical cash like paper money and coins. Once that cash is in your hands, it becomes difficult to trace. Unlike digital payments, paper money doesn't record where or how it's spent. If you deposit that cash into a commercial bank like Chase, HSBC, or SBI, they give you a digital number in your account. That number is just a promise, not real cash. It's the bank saying, we owe you this much. If the government wants to freeze your account, they can't do it directly. Why? Because your money is inside the commercial bank. So the government needs to ask the bank to freeze it. Even when the central bank wants to add more money to the economy, it doesn't give it to people directly. It gives it to banks by buying bonds, which encourages those banks to lend more money to the public. And if you go to the ATM and take out real cash, it's even harder for the government or central bank to interfere with you. So today, banks are the middlemen. But with CBDC, that changes completely. The middlemen no longer hold your money. Your money is stored in a digital wallet connected directly to the central bank. In most countries, commercial banks will still give you the app and customer service, but the money itself is sitting at the central bank. Since the central bank holds your money, they don't need to print anything. They can just change the number, add it, or subtract it. And most importantly, they don't need to ask your bank to freeze it, they can just freeze it instantly. And because it's all digital, they can track everything. Every payment you make, every time you send or receive money, and any other things, they are all visible to the government and the central bank. So even though it may look like a normal bank app or PayPal, it's actually a new kind of money system that is more centralized and controlled by the central bank and government. Section 2. What are the goals of CBDC? After understanding the definition and concept of CBDC, you might have a rough idea why governments and central banks are so excited about this CBDC. So here's how. The first reason is more control. As I mentioned before today, most of your digital money sits inside commercial banks like Chase, HSBC, or SBI, and not at the central bank. That means central banks cannot directly influence or control how money flows. Now, with CBDC, central banks have more control over the money system as they hold the money. So in theory, it would allow them to directly adjust interest rates or send stimulus straight to people's CBDC wallets, while the commercial banks are just offering customer service or user interface. So no more middleman validation and delay, but yes, more control. The second reason is full visibility. If you use cash and spend it offline elsewhere, the central bank or governments have no idea what you are buying or selling. And that's why criminals conduct transactions or launder money using cash in order to avoid governments from tracking them. But as CBDC is digital, every transaction, every transfer is visible to them online, and they can monitor, track, and analyze everything you do. While it can help fight crime and tax evasion from criminals, This also has the price, which is losing your privacy, which we will talk about in the next section. The third reason is cross-border efficiency. This is what central banks say when they promote CBDC. Right now, sending money between countries is slow, expensive, and full of middlemen. You've got to deal with correspondent banks, currency conversions, high fees, and waiting days for money to arrive. Central banks say CBDC can fix that. Because CBDC is issued and held by central banks, it could, in theory, be transferred directly between countries through connections between central banks. If both countries' CBDC systems are compatible, your money could move instantly without relying on financial service providers like Visa or MasterCard or correspondent banks. This can be done without middlemen, which will reduce a lot of the fees and lead to faster transfers. So this shows how powerful CBDC could be. And the biggest worry is, what guarantees that governments or central banks won't abuse that power? Section 3. Why CBDC is dangerous. On paper, CBDC indeed sounds efficient. So why are people so against it? Well, because CBDC has a lot of risks behind its efficiency. First, CBDC kills privacy. With cash, your purchases are anonymous. With CBDC, everything is recorded. Every payment, every transfer is logged and stored. Some people say, well, I have nothing to hide. Great. But privacy isn't about hiding something. It's about not being watched all the time. Buy groceries, they know. Send money to your friend, they know. Pay for something embarrassing, yeah, they know too. You might think you've done nothing wrong. But how do you know what looks wrong in the government's eyes? Second, CBDC allows programmable restrictions. This is the danger most people worry about. This isn't just about creating the money. It's also about controlling what you're allowed to do. They could block your money from being used to buy certain products, or limit how much money you can hold in your account, or even assign expiration dates, so if you don't spend your money in time, it disappears. This isn't speculation. The European Central Bank has already discussed conditional payments, which is like money with rules. In China, they've tested sending stimulus checks in the form of digital currency that can expire after a fixed time to encourage people to spend more and faster to encourage faster economic growth. So imagine having money but you can't save it because it has an expiration date. You can't invest it because the money is programmed not to be used to buy certain investment tools like stocks or real estate, and you're left with no choice except to spend it on approved items, even if you don't need them. Well, of course, CBDCs haven't been fully implemented yet, so this is still just theoretical. But this just shows how powerful CBDC can be if fully implemented in the future. And what if they start setting the rules to benefit themselves? Well, we are cooked. Third, CBDC creates a tool for social control. CBDC is a digital account, so your name would be on it as identification, which also can be connected through a digital ID. So in theory, this system can be programmed to respond to your behavior. Did you protest? Disagree? Say something online? Theoretically, once they know your name, your account could be frozen or limited instantly without needing to ask commercial banks and others. In Canada, during the 2022 trucker protests, the government froze protesters' bank accounts under emergency powers without a court order. That was using the current old system, where the government still needed to ask commercial banks to freeze them. Even with middlemen, the government could do that easily, and CBDC makes that even easier, faster, and more direct with no commercial banks involved, no legal delay. Section 4. Who is building it? By now, you might be thinking you just heard the conspiracy clickbait about central banks, right? Well, nah, these things are already real. Let's start with China, the most advanced so far. Their digital currency, called the digital yuan or the ECNY, shocked the world in 2020. Their digital yuan is already being tested in China's major cities. It's directly controlled by the central bank through commercial banks and other authorized operators. In some testing, stimulus was sent through the digital yuan with expiration dates, pushing people to spend it immediately in order to boost the economy faster. Then there's Europe. The European Central Bank is developing the digital euro. Their official documents show they're planning to limit spending with conditional payments, which means money but with rules, and wallet caps, which limit how much digital euro a person can hold. Right now, they're proposing a cap of 3,000 euros per person, supposedly to avoid a bank run. According to the ECB, the digital euro will be safe and private, and even work offline so only the person who pays and receives the money gets the data. But nobody knows, once you're back online, whether that data gets recorded by the European Central Bank and governments or not. For the United States, it is still in the research phase and legal phase. The Fed has launched FedNow, an instant payment infrastructure. It's not a CBDC, but many believe it lays the technical foundation for a future CBDC. As of June 2025, President Donald Trump has banned the digital dollar or CBDC and is instead focusing more on cryptocurrencies. But again, nobody knows if this decision will be reversed or changed in the future. Globally, more than 130 countries are exploring or developing CBDCs. That includes nearly every major economy, from India with their digital rupee, Brazil with Drex, the United Kingdom with the digital pound, and Japan with the digital yen. And as of June 2025, there are 3 countries, which are Nigeria, the Bahamas, and Jamaica, that have fully launched CBDCs. While many countries say CBDC won't replace cash and will just work alongside it, it's not impossible that once people get used to it, it could slowly replace cash completely. Section 5, who's fighting back? So with all these powerful institutions pushing CBDC forward, is anyone daring enough to fight back? Yes, they are. First, the crypto community. Even though it looks similar, most crypto communities are against CBDC. Why? Because it goes against everything they believe in, which are decentralization, privacy, and free finance without permissions. While CBDC does the exact opposite, it puts everything back under one central power, but this time with even more power. Second, some advocates and experts. Various economists, lawyers, former officials, and civil liberty groups have criticized CBDCs for threatening privacy, reducing economic freedom, and turning money into a tool of financial surveillance. So even many experts aren't exactly fans of this new system. Third, commercial banks. Now banks aren't worried about surveillance or freedom, but they're worried about survival. Widely implemented CBDC can make people move their money from banks to the central bank directly. Fewer deposits mean banks have less money to lend, which leads to less influence and less profit. But as the CBDC system is still not final, it's still unclear what the commercial bank's role will be. Finally, there's some regular citizens. Now, not all of these people agree on everything. Some love crypto, some don't. Some are focused on privacy, others on legal structure. But they all see the same red flag. CBDC is really giving absolute power to the central bank and maybe to governments too. According to a 2023 Cato survey, only 16% of Americans support a CBDC. So what guarantees that this absolute power will be used for good? As the quote says, "The greater the power, the more dangerous the abuse." So in conclusion, CBDC is not just a new payment method. It's not another mobile banking app or PayPal or cryptocurrency. It surely lets you send money faster and more efficiently. But remember, it's also a system that gives central banks direct control over your money. So is CBDC good or bad? I believe this video has made things pretty clear. Now it's your turn to decide. And thank you to our premium members for supporting this channel. You can support too by joining our membership. If you want me to make other videos explaining these topics, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.